Have you ever noticed that your mind becomes the loudest when everything around you becomes quiet? The moment you lie down after a long day, when the lights go off and the world finally becomes silent, your brain suddenly wakes up. A conversation from 3 years ago appears. A mistake you made yesterday starts playing again. A simple message from someone becomes a mystery you must solve. Did I say something wrong? What did they really mean? What if everything goes wrong? And suddenly, you are no longer lying in your bed. You are trapped inside a courtroom inside your own mind. One part of you is creating problems. Another part is trying to solve them. And you are sitting in the middle, exhausted from listening to both. This is the strange reality of overthinkers. They are not people who simply think too much. They are people whose minds have learned that thinking is the only way to feel safe. But what happens when the thing you use for protection becomes the thing that hurts you? To understand the psychology of overthinking, we must first understand one important truth. An overthinking mind is not a broken mind. It is a mind that learned a pattern created by experiences, emotions, fears, and the desperate human need for certainty. An overthinker's biggest struggle is not having thoughts. Everyone has thoughts. The struggle is believing every thought deserves attention. A normal person may think, I hope tomorrow goes well. An overthinker thinks, what if tomorrow goes badly? Why could it go badly? What would I do if it happens? What would people think? Have I prepared enough? One simple thought becomes 10 possibilities. 10 possibilities become 50 questions. And 50 questions become a mental prison. Psychologists call this process rumination. Rumination is when the brain repeatedly focuses on the same problem without moving toward a solution. It feels productive. It feels like you are analyzing. It feels like you are preparing. But there is a difference between solving a problem and continuously touching the same wound. The overthinking mind believes, if I think about this enough, I can finally prevent pain. But life does not work that way. You can analyze every conversation, you can predict every possibility, you can prepare for every outcome, yet uncertainty will always exist. And that is the thing an overthinking mind struggles with the most. Not problems, not challenges, uncertainty. The interesting thing about overthinking is that it often begins as a survival strategy. Many overthinkers were not born this way, they learned it. Imagine a child growing up in an environment where emotions are unpredictable. Some days they receive love and attention, other days they experience criticism, anger, or emotional distance. The child's brain begins searching for patterns. Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? How can I avoid this next time? The child starts studying people's moods, their tone, their expressions, their silence. They become experts at detecting small changes because their brain believes, if I can predict what happens next, I can protect myself. This is called hypervigilance. It is the brain staying alert for possible danger. For some people, this danger is physical. For others, it is emotional. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of disappointing others. A child who constantly tries to understand everyone else's emotions may grow into an adult who constantly analyzes everyone else's behavior. A child who learned, I need to be perfect to avoid criticism, may become an adult who spends hours checking every decision. A child who learned, one mistake can create a problem, may become an adult who fears every mistake. The overthinker is often not searching for answers. They are searching for safety. One of the biggest psychological traps of overthinking is the illusion of control. The brain convinces you, if I imagine every possible problem, I will be ready. And sometimes preparation is useful. Planning is healthy. Reflection is important. But overthinking crosses a line. It changes from what can I do? Into, what if something terrible happens? The first question creates action. The second creates fear. The overthinking brain tries to eliminate uncertainty completely. But certainty is impossible. You cannot know every person's intention. You cannot predict every future event. You cannot guarantee that nobody will hurt you. And when the brain tries to achieve the impossible, it becomes exhausted. It is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Inside the brain, overthinking involves several important systems. The first is the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and analyzing situations. It is one of the greatest abilities humans have. It helps us solve problems, create ideas, imagine the future. But in an overthinking mind, this system can become overactive. The brain keeps searching for answers, even when no answer exists. Then there is the amygdala. The amygdala is involved in detecting threats. When it senses danger, it activates your stress response. Your heart beats faster. Your body becomes tense. Your mind becomes more alert. The problem is that the amygdala does not only respond to real danger, it can respond to imagined danger too. A difficult conversation from the past can activate the same stress system as a current threat. A future possibility can feel like a present reality. This is why overthinkers often feel physically exhausted. Their body is constantly preparing for battles that never happen. There is something important people misunderstand about overthinkers. Many overthinkers are deeply self-aware. They notice details others miss. They analyze situations carefully. They think about consequences. They often have strong empathy because they spend so much time trying to understand others. But their strength can become their weakness. The same sensitivity that allows them to understand people can make them absorb too much. They notice a small change in someone's voice. They notice a delayed reply. They notice a different expression. And their brain immediately begins creating explanations. But the brain has one dangerous habit. It fills empty spaces with stories. Someone does not reply. The overthinker thinks, they're angry, they are losing interest, I must have done something wrong. But the truth may simply be, they are busy. The mind hates uncertainty, so it creates a story, even if that story hurts. The tragedy of overthinking is not just the thoughts. It is what those thoughts take away. It steals moments. You're having dinner with someone you love, but your mind is somewhere else. You're walking outside, but you're replaying yesterday. You receive an opportunity, but you spend so much time worrying about failure that you never begin. Overthinking creates a strange situation. You spend so much time thinking about life that you forget to live it. The future becomes more real than the present. The past becomes louder than the moment in front of you. And slowly, your life becomes something you analyze instead of experience. The goal is not to stop thinking. That is impossible. Your mind is designed to think. The goal is to change your relationship with your thoughts. A thought is not a fact. A feeling is not always reality. A fear is not always a warning. Sometimes a thought is simply a thought. Mindfulness works because it teaches the brain something powerful. You can observe a thought without obeying it. Instead of, what if I fail? You learn to say, I am having a thought that I might fail. That small difference creates distance. You stop becoming the thought. You become the person watching the thought. Another important step is accepting uncertainty. Peace does not come from knowing everything. Peace comes from trusting yourself even when you don't. You do not need to have every answer before moving forward. You only need enough courage to take the next step.
Maybe your mind became loud because at some point it was trying to protect you. Maybe overthinking was your way of creating safety in an uncertain world. But the same strategy that helped you survive yesterday may not be the strategy that helps you live tomorrow. Your thoughts are not your enemy. They are messages. But messages are not commands. You can listen without being controlled. You can think without drowning. You can plan without fearing. Because you are not the endless conversation happening inside your head. You are the awareness watching it. The sky is not destroyed by clouds. The ocean is not broken by waves. And you are not defined by your thoughts. You are the space where those thoughts appear. And when you finally understand this, the mind that once felt like a prison slowly becomes what it was always meant to be, a tool, not a master.